Hey Sinan, thanks for the question. Any recent scenarios where I said no? Yes. Um, there was a meeting wherein one of my senior managers or directors and also my PO has requested for me to take notes during the meeting and share it as MOM towards the end with action items, and which I humbly declined, stating that what is the point of having all the team members on the call, and they are all agile and they are all agile mindset, and they know how to make note of what they need to do, and they know what's in their plate. So I think what's the point in having the MOM and having an action items written in mail and send it out across, right? So we all need to be agile, and we need to continuously adapt and adapt and inspect towards whatever we are doing. So I think this is a way to be self-managing. If we I think we need to stop spoon feeding them with what action items are to be done. That is where we will help our teams improve or move towards the self-management and be an agile mindset, right? So that is how I handle that situation. Thank you. They know what's in their plate, and they create Jira cards to track these action items, and they continue to work on them, whatever happens in the meetings or whatever new feedback that we receive, right? So that is how we continue to have those action items updated in the backlog, and we take them up in the upcoming sprint wherever we feel that is really important for the value or the increment that we are going to deliver by end of the sprint.
Hi all, good evening. This week's question is: in what situation you have said no to your boss, client, or teammates? What is the reason, and how you have tackled that situation? So, in the recent, I have said no to my manager with respect to role expectation. I was managing 3 Scrum teams and as a Scrum Master, and also I was performing lead role there. The expectation from the management was different than what I was doing. Like, they expected to work on the tasks as the other team members were doing because of the resource issues, and I was okay, and I thought that it would be a learning experience, and I initially agreed. But managing 3 Scrum teams and other Scrum process and other things, it was little challenging for me, and I explained the pros and cons, and later on we had a discussion with my senior manager, and I said if I have to manage 3 Scrum teams along with the lead and the developer role, it will be a kind of hectic for me, and there is no self-learning for me. From learning perspective, I am losing that importance. And other reason for me to deny that proposal was he didn't want the Scrum process to be implemented end to end. I mean to say, he said that certain Scrum ceremonies were a waste of time. Though I convinced him what is the purpose of each and every Scrum events, it was not manageable. Like, it was not convinced, and that is where I said no to my project manager, and it was like a direct no, and I moved from that team. With respect to team members and boss, the situation where I said no, it is like it can be my PO or my supervisor. It is a very rare situation I have said no, because most of the situation I have tried to accommodate their request. But in certain situations, when I am trying to incorporate any change in the process within the team, few times there will be some hesitation, or they will be resistant for that changes. For example, team might be following different process, and in the sprint, if some changes are required at that point of time, if team is not willing, and at that situation, I have been explaining like what could be done and what is that we can commit with. So by explaining the pros and cons, by being favorable to both, like win-win situation with team members and also PO, I have tackled situation in that way. But it was not a direct no with team members, or it can be with my supervisors.
Everyone. So today's question is, tell us the time when you have said no to your client or any of your teammates or boss, and why you have said no, and how you have tackled this situation. So yeah, this similar thing has happened with me in the past. So so one of my client came in between of the sprint, that is of the fifth day of the sprint, and asked to take a new requirement uh, in between of the sprint, that is on the fifth day. And like that requirement was purely new. We have no idea about that requirement. So when he came and put down his requirement, so I just uh, asked him, let us analyze what can be done in this. So I took that requirement to the developers, and the developers and whole scrum team had sit together and brainstorm the requirement. We find out that if we implement this requirement, there can be some loopholes due to which some other flows can break down. So because as it's on the fifth day of the sprint that this requirement came, we cannot take this up, because the complete testing is not possible, and like thorough testing would not be possible in this much less amount of time. And that requirement was critical, and that can break so many flows if thorough testing is not done. So after the brainstorming, I just spoke with the client and informed the similar thing about like, this is what our analysis is. If we take this requirement, there might be chances like so many flows can broken down. So I asked like, what is the priority of this flow first of all? Because like this was just a back flow. Like suppose for example, I'm coming from A screen to B and going back. So one back was already working in that, but in this requirement, they want me to enter from some another screen and like do there was so many history and go back to the similar screen. So in such situation, I discussed with the client and informed all the risks that we are seeing. So after like she said he said he said like, you have to take this is on the high priority. So I just asked, is it fine if this will break so many loopholes and so many flows? So they said he said no. So we agree on the same, and we took this requirement in the upcoming sprint. Thank you.
Okay, response for today's question. If we have ever said no to maybe clients, our boss, or any of our team members. So let's start with the client first. So sharing a recent instance wherein for one of our two sprints, one after the other, we had a lot of bugs and of varying priorities and severity, because of which the client got really in a panic situation and started asking a lot of questions around what's going to be the ETA for resolution for all of these right away. We as a team, of course, and this is very obvious to many of the team members, we could not give the ETA right away because we didn't knew the complexity, we didn't knew the place where any of these bugs would be fixed. So what we did is we said no, we cannot give you the ETA. Rather, what we can do is we can give you progressive updates. So every alternate day, there would be one person from the team who's going to give you and send out all the updates and progress. Just because there are a lot of the things that are maybe critical and maybe impacting a huge number of users on your side. So we came into an arrangement wherein we said, okay, you tell us the priority, you tell us the severity, based on a combination of priority and severity, which is if it is high, medium, low, as in terms of priority, and in terms of severity, how many users it's impacting. So if it's impacting just one user but it's a very critical bug, and so on and so forth, if it's maybe a critical bug and impacting a lot of users on the production server, we would take that first and we would work on that first, and we would give you progress updates, the analysis, maybe the workaround or a permanent fix, and then we can give an ATA because we would have a better understanding of it. Somehow we were able to convince the customer, and within the span of 2 weeks we were able to set an understanding that that's how we want to work. Post that, in the next subsequent sprint, we were able to stabilize our critical bugs, and we then stopped doing it because we didn't want to set that as a habit. Uh, so that's how we were able to deal with that situation. Moving on to the next one, saying no to the to our boss. I'll give you maybe a recent scenario wherein in within somewhere within these 2 sprints itself, my manager told me that he would like to attend the daily Scrum daily, not just one-off occurrence, and I was skeptical about it because, of course, it's an anti-pattern and it should not be done. So while I was trying to convince him, it was very difficult because he's my boss, and but at some point in time, we were like, okay, let's do it for one discussion, and then we'll see how the second one goes off. So the arrangement was that he will be on mute, and if there are any questions, if the time remains, he would go at the end. And however, the other way around, if the team feels that they want to ask something to the manager, because he was very good at the technology that we were using and he knew the business end to end, so we made that kind of an arrangement. He honored it till the 10th minute because the daily scrum is for 15 minutes. At the 11th minute, he jumped in and he started asking a few questions, which was not part of the arrangement. For a few minutes, I was like, okay, let's give in, let's see how it goes. And after that, I said, okay, let's take a pause, let the team finish first, and then if time remains, then we'll come back to you. He agreed because that was already the arrangement between us. So somehow we were able to finish that discussion within 20 minutes. It went over 5 minutes. Next day, we again discussed our guidelines, our rules, that he will not pitch in because it was a critical time. I had to seek his help because of the knowledge that he had technologically and functionally. He agreed, and starting from day second, he was a mute audience, and as and when team needed assistance, they would ask questions to him, and he would help out. For the span of, I think, 4 or 5 days, he was there. It was helpful, but then we stopped again, like I said, because it was an anti-pattern, but it was helpful, so we allowed. If it was a scenario wherein the team did not allowed or team did not wanted to have the manager, or we would have been doing every day, it would have been an incorrect thing to do, as it's an anti-pattern again. So that's something that we did not wanted to do. Going on to the last part, saying no to a team member. So a recent Scrum call that I had with one of my team was a team member. There was a certain Jira which was only related to the UI part. So while many of the team members were interested, one of the team members said out loud that he will not be able to do. So because the other team members were already having a lot of things on their plate, I had to request this team member to take it up if he can, because he did not had anything on his name. He said he will still not take it. We were almost at the end of the daily Scrum call. We closed our call. I had a discussion with him. He explained that he lacks the knowledge and all that reasons. But at the end of the day, he was still adamant that he will not take this up. Now, what I did is I had a discussion with him in length, and we struck a arrangement wherein he said, okay, let's do this way. So while he was an expert at the database, he had no knowledge about the UI or the Java and all that stuff. What we did is we said, okay, you take up the simple issues that come up in future, in this sprint or in the future sprints, and for the database, you can mentor others so that they can take up the simple issues, and they will have some bandwidth to take up few of your Jiras, the simple database issues, and you can help them to debug and mentor them, and for the database, and then they can mentor you back for the UI and the Java. With that way, we will also start to form a cross-functional team, and you will get to see the other side of the technology, what the other team members are working on, the project that we have, the portal that we are building, and we'll meet again in a week or two, and we'll see how it goes. After a week or two, we were in discussion, and he was very happy because he didn't knew how interesting the UI coding and the scripting can be. So he wanted to move into that transitioning again and into more depth, wherein he wanted to give more DB work to others and take up less on his side, and take up more on the UI side, so that he can start taking up that side of the work. So those were the few instances from my side.
Hello everyone, today's topic is, as a Scrum Master, if I ever said no to any of my client, team member or my boss. Yes, I have said no many times to my clients, my teammates, and as well as my immediate supervisor. The first example I would like to give where this particular topic came to me as a team conflict. In my project, the development team consisting of two different teams. One is developer and another one the testing team. Once the developer done with the coding, they will do one round of unit testing, and they will assign the user story to the testing team, and then testing team will take over. If they found any bug, they will report that bug to the developer, and developer will resolve and assign back the user story to the tester. So one such user story, it has happened like the tester have raised a bug, but the dev lead, she was not accepting the bug because as per her it was a invalid bug, because a particular topic was not mentioned in the acceptance criteria. And when testing team is saying that no, that is a valid bug, they will not accept or reject the bug, otherwise their effort will go waste, because testing team has put an effort and they have found the bug. So they both came to me, the dev lead and the test lead, and they have discussed this thing with me. So I have scheduled a call. I have actually discussed the same thing with the product owner who actually raised this particular user story. I have included both of them, and once after the discussion, I got to know that the particular value is supposed to be display in the particular UI should come from different table, from different column, and that particular user story is only retrieving the value from one table, and that has been mentioned in the user story. But for that particular value, the team has to fetch from different table. That particular table name was not mentioned, and a developer also they also didn't ask the product owner should they need to display that from that very different table or not. So I found it's that the acceptance miss from the product owner. That was the requirement miss, and so it is a requirement miss. So they can't the root cause the testing team have given as a found in PT as a code error, but I said that no, it is definitely not code error, so we'll not accept this bug in that way. Better test the product owner can create another user story, and testing team can close this bug as a change in requirement, and like that they can proceed. Now, the next example I'd like to give if I ever said no to any of my client. Yes, I have said no to one of my India business client. In my project, we have for a particular financial year, we have four major releases, and before all the major releases we used to give the business for the testing of their functionality. We will give the 1 week of time. In that time period they has to test everything, whatever they have uh, asked as a requirement or logged as a requirement in the requirement tracker. So one of the in one of the testing, the India business team came back to us and said that they have found some bug or defect. Whatever they have told us as a requirement, that has been done from the development team. So they are saying that we have already informed about this requirement, but we have found that it is a miss. But once I have checked with the POs, then dev lead, we got to know that that particular requirement what they talking about was nowhere mentioned in the requirement tracker. So we have again checked with the India business team that where it has been logged. Do you have any documents or any tracker you are maintaining? Because in our tracker it is not there. Then they again came back and said to us that no, it is been said to the PO whoever worked on earlier on this requirement. The particular feature is like of 2 years old feature, and the previous all the BAs have left that organization. And so we have asked the India business user that do you have the mail communication at least where you have informed the BAs about the requirement, so that we can take this up. But as of now, from our end, we have not got any kind of requirement from your side, and we will not take this as a defect for now. But definitely, we'll take this as a new enhancement, and team can start working on that, and we can tell you by when we can provide the solution or the fix. Sorry, the solution. And after that, after this particular incident, we have changed our requirement gathering process a bit, because topic I would like to highlight is if I have ever said no to product owner. Yes, in during the daily stand-up call, our development team used to attend, because that is particularly for the development team only. But sometimes BAs are also attending, but they used to be on mute. And if any developer has any question on the requirement, they will ask that particular BA, and then and there that particular doubt they could resolve it, and they can proceed with the user story. So in one of a Scrum call, it happened like one of the BA have requested me that he or she has a small user story. If she can groom that user story in that particular daily stand-up call, because everyone was present, the testing team, the development team. As I said, the development team consisting here of two different teams, and everyone is available, so it's better to groom the user story in that Scrum call. Though we have separate grooming call in the second half of the day, but the BA, I think he or she was trying to take a shortcut and was not willing to join the second half call. Might be they are having some another call at that time. But I said clearly no to the BA, because daily stand-up call is not meant for refining the user story, and the refinement session has been scheduled based on the agreement of the PO and the BA, POs and the development team. So better we can groom that user story in the refinement session grooming call only. Okay, the last one will be if I ever said no to my immediate boss, my immediate supervisor. Yes, I have said no because you know once my manager asked me to showcase the productivity of the team members in a dashboard. We have different dashboard in Azure DevOps, and we'll be showcasing the scope of the entire financial year. We'll be showing the burn down chart, the release burn down chart, then velocity. So everything will be displaying, but she wanted a different, a particular tabular format of a productivity of team in terms of hours. But that particular dashboard is accessible by every team member, every development team member, and productivity is not something that we need to track. It's not a good thing in Scrum. It's definitely an anti-pattern, and I directly said this to my manager that if you want a productivity for a particular team member, I can help you out. I can put a query and I can send you the detail, but it is definitely not a good idea to display that in the dashboard, because it will affect team members, and they might think that micromanagement is happening in the team. So I don't want to I don't want to do this, or it will affect the team health actually. So if it is very much required, if you feel that particular team member is not working much, or if you want to know the status, then I can provide you over the chat or over the email, but we should not track this thing in the dashboard. Even I have asked my manager that what is the use of it, why we need that to be displayed in the dashboard. Are you going to show this to management? But then definitely if you are showcasing something to the management, then the dashboard will be different from the team should not have that access for it, and that only will be meant for the higher leadership, not for the team. So if you need help in that, definitely I can provide you. So yeah, these are the some example from my side where I have said no. That's all from my end. Thank you.